here in Bristol, Connecticut, hanging out outside building number 7, now 99. Sorry, Robbie Gordon. And we're just hanging out at the ESPN studios today. Coming up, we're going to tell you a little bit more about how my season's gone so far and what you guys have to look forward to this year. Also coming up, we're going to go way back Wednesday to Martinsville in 1974 to find out what Earl Ross has in common with Juan Pablo Montoya. Montreal might be known for its hockey, but this week we're bringing the Nationwide Series to the Canadian fans. Coming up, I'll tell you how I'm going to handle my first time racing outside the country.
Everybody's chasing the 99 of Trevor Bayne.
We know we can do it now. You know, we just got to keep these runs going, keep that momentum flowing.
3 poles in a row, and some are asking, is he ready to win? Coming back on the inside, takes it away from Kyle Busch.
Boy, that's a power move right there out of Bayne. That usually doesn't happen.
They have felt as though they're on the verge maybe of breaking through for that first win.
Keep run up there, situations happen, and we'll be all right.
Hey there, and welcome to NASCAR Now, and welcome to our special guest, Trevor Bayne, who's in his second season of Nationwide Series competition, his first full season. And I just learned something. You're heading to Montreal this weekend. You've never even used your passport?
This is the first time I've ever been out of the country ever, not just for racing, but so I'm glad I finally get to show this thing off and show that little mugshot.
You get to, like, show off your little book, collect your first stamp. Well, like I said, it's your first full season of competition. Last year was part-time. What's been the biggest challenge so far of switching schedules?
Well, I think it's just the 18 races in a row that we've done here lately. I mean, that takes a lot of time, so you got to be mentally prepared for that. You got to be physically prepared for it. But in that, you get in the rhythm. You know, it's great to be racing every single weekend. Last year it was a struggle because I'd run 2 races, get out of the car, let somebody else get in, and then have to get back in the swing of things. So this year, racing a full season has been huge for our chemistry with the team. It's been big for the whole organization, and it's really shown in our runs in the last few weeks that running consistently back-to-back is going to make us better.
You did get into an impressive run of poles a few weeks back. You got 3 in a row. You've also had 4 top 5s, but what do you consider your strongest performance to date?
I would have to say Iowa, even though it's not our best finish. You know, we finished 3rd at Gateway, but I think Iowa was probably our strongest race throughout the whole thing. We set the pole, we led some laps, we raced with Kyle Busch for a long time, battled with Brad Keselowski, and ended up 5th at the end, or 4th or 5th. I can't remember which one. They're kind of running together, but you know, it was just a great run for us at Diamond Waltrip Racing. I know Jerry Baxter worked really hard on that car. We dialed it in, and you know, we missed it a little bit at the end, but that thing was just really strong all day.
You just mentioned 2 veteran drivers. Those 2, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch, they don't always get along, but who's helped you the most?
Oh, man, I would say my teammates have definitely been a big part in helping me mature, and then also Kevin Harvick. But David Rudiman is really good at the 1.5 mile tracks and those kind of places. So is Martin Truex Jr. And then I've got Marcus Ambrose to lean on, going to road course races just like this weekend. They all have something to offer. And then Michael Waltrip with his experience. It's just a great place to be right now.
Well, our ESPN NASCAR analyst, Andy Petrie, is also joining us today, though via satellite. You've had the chance to watch Trevor many times this season. What have your impressions been of him?
Well, Nicole, the biggest thing that impresses me about Trevor is his speed. That's just one thing you can't teach. I mean, you can't teach a guy how to go fast. What you can teach him is how to, not make mistakes, how to mature as a driver, and to figure out how to win races and those sort of things. But you can't teach speed. He's got that. He's set on all these poles, and he's going to be a factor in for the championship and a lot of wins to come. So that's what I've been the most impressed with. But, Trevor, I'd like to ask you one thing. I've always wondered how young guys like you come into this sport without really having any background in the cars themselves, and how you get here and know how to adjust these cars and to make them go fast and do what you want to do.
Well, that's been the big learning curve, is just learning what these Nationwide cars want. I grew up racing go-karts and finally figured those out. Then I moved to the Allison Legacy Series, and it took the 2nd year to figure those out. And the same thing for Hooters Pro Cup and Camping World East. It took a little bit of time to figure them out, but once we did, we were really tough to beat. And that's what we battled at the beginning of the year of last season with the Nationwide cars, is just knowing what those cars want at the end of the race. And we still have a little bit to learn with that, to break into that victory lane for the first time. We figured out how to run top 5 and how to get those poles, but when we figure out how to adjust these cars for the end of the race, I think that's when we're going to be really tough to beat.
Well, you got Jerry Baxter as a crew chief, and I know you got to lean on him quite a bit, especially in this area. And I heard you talk about all the drivers that you lean on for assistance and guidance as far as driving the race car. But what do you still have to learn? I mean, what do you feel like going forward that Jerry Baxter can teach you that can help you become a champion?
Well, I think what I've learned so far is how hard these guys go on new tires. You know, when you grow up racing 150 lap, 200 lap races on one set of tires, you're like, all right, I got to ride and save my stuff for a little while. But what I've learned so far is just every lap counts. The restarts are crucial, and that's something that they worked with me on is, man, as soon as that green flag drops, you got to go. There's no riding. There's no waiting around on the tires to come in. Just go, go, go. And I think I still have a little bit to learn on just the long runs. Like I said, knowing where that car needs to be at the beginning of a run, whether it has to be sideways and I lose 2 spots at the beginning of a run to be fast at the end of that run, and that's what we're working on. I think that's going to be our biggest breakthrough point, like I said earlier, because I think all the pieces are there. You know, we've got great sponsors on board without Pet Care and Aaron's. I've got great guys up on top of the box. Michael Waltrip and Gary Bechtel are fully behind me, and Johnny Benson's been helping me out as a driver coach. So I think all the pieces are in place, but we just got to get it to click there, that one little bit to be able to break into victory lane for that first time.
ESPN NASCAR analyst Andy Petrie, thank you very much for joining us. As we turn back to you, you mentioned mental preparation as well. Every driver goes about the mental preparation in a different way. What has worked for you?
I don't know. I think it's I go back home a lot. You know, I go to Tennessee and just you got to be able to get away from it as much as you're in it. You know, we're in it every day from Thursday to Sunday, just studying. And during those days, you got to be fresh. You got to be on your game. And to get ready for those races, you know, we watch a lot of film. It's almost like a football team. You know, we go in there, we study it, we do a lot of simulator racing. We go and we try to get seat time at testing. You know, getting in cup cars, whatever we can do to get that experience to be ready to hop in the car that weekend.
Hey guys, believe it or not, he's only 19, and he's with us the rest of the half hour. Right now, let's go under the hood. The Cup Series are off this weekend. The Nationwide Series is not. Trevor and the rest